Hey everybody, this is Eno and welcome to the Dynamic Ripper. Well, we have another flashlight review from ThruNite. This is the ThruNite Archer 1A V3, or the single AA battery version of the Archer. We reviewed its big brother, the 2A, just a few weeks ago here on the channel, and now we have the 1A. So we'll compare it to its big brother. We'll also compare it to a couple other flashlights. But for right now, let's go ahead and get this open. As I said, this is the V3, so this is the 2016 version 3 model of the Archer. It's a little smaller and narrower than the V2, which was out last year, which thus makes it lighter. So it's about 20 grams lighter than its V2 predecessor. So we'll get into the features in just a second. It's a little over 4 inches long, 110 millimeters. But let's get into the rest of the box. So we have a little lanyard. It also has some replacement O-rings for the for the battery cap, where you unscrew the battery from. We have a piece of paper here, which is just a thanks for purchasing our product. Some moisture absorber, and of course your owner's manual. So let's put all that aside for right now and get into the Archer V3. The Archer V3, as I said, is a little over 4 inches long. It's about 4 1/3 inches long. It's a great EDC length. I absolutely love this length for EDC. It's got a titanium coated pocket clip. It's all hard anodized finish. Has a strike bezel with an orange peel reflector. I don't know if you can see the reflector in there. It has a little bit of a texture to it, which helps throw the beam a little bit wider. Which in my opinion makes it much more useful. Has a toggle switch on the back, a tactical switch here which allows you to cycle between the 5 different modes, which we'll get into in a second. Has an anti-roll collar. The belt clip is removable. Its spec weight is 46 grams. Let's go ahead and weigh it up and see how we're doing. Alrighty, there we go. Tear that off real quick. And we're coming in at, what, 45 grams. So we're a gram under spec weight. This is without the battery in it. This is just fresh out of the box. So very close to spec weight. I'm actually quite impressed. So let's go ahead and get a battery in here real quick and we'll begin to look at the features. So like I said, it just takes one AA battery. And there we go. So the flashlight has a couple of different modes. So in addition to its on-off switch here on the back, this tactical switch here allows you to cycle through the various modes. So the first mode that we have here is Firefly, which is a 0.1 lumen, very, very low beam. So if you're looking to, in a nighttime situation, you don't want to blow out your night vision or you don't want to disturb people, this is a really good option for searching for something or looking at a map or something like that at night. It's a very low level 0.1 lumen mode. You then have the low beam, which is 17 lumen. The medium beam, which is 75 lumens. And then full bore high beam, which is 200 lumens. And then if you hold the switch down for a second, you'll go into the strobe mode, which is also the 200 lumen. Its runtime at the high beam is 3.5 hours. It'll run a total of 17 days if you leave it on the Firefly mode. So the different modes obviously will lengthen or shorten your battery life depending on where you leave it at. The cool thing about this flashlight, for instance, if I cycle to the low mode, okay, so right now I'm in low, I'm in the 17 lumen version, 17 lumen mode, excuse me. If I turn the flashlight off, it has a memory function. So when I turn it back on, it's in that low mode. So if I put it into high, turn it off, turn it back on again, it's still on high. If I put it in Firefly, turn it off, turn it back on, it's still in Firefly. This as opposed to when I was reviewing the big brother, the Archer 2A V3, I was comparing that to the Streamlight ProTac, which each time you turn it off, If you turn it back on again, it blanks that there's no memory. So you have to cycle through the different modes again. So if you're in the Firefly mode and you turn it off and then you turn it back on again, you're in the full beam. So you got blazing flashlight when you might not want it, which is one of the reasons why I like the Archer for that. So if we take a look at the upgrades we've gotten from the V3 to the V2 from last year, the V2 was 180 lumen as opposed to the V3 here, which is 200 lumen. And also the spec weight for the V2 was 60 grams. It was a little bit beefier, a little bit bigger round, a little bit larger flashlight all over. And the spec weight here, of course, is 46 grams, so we have a little bit smaller flashlight. So we've dropped some weight, we've decreased the size, and we have a lighter weight and more powerful flashlight at 200 lumens. So other than that, most of the functionality of the flashlight is almost identical to its predecessor. And I will say I've been a long-time fan of this guy here, the Streamlight Stylus Pro. I've been carrying this flashlight for years and years. If you go back and watch my EDC pocket dump video, which I did years ago, I was carrying this flashlight. It shows a little wear and tear from the years of being in my pocket, but this has been my go-to EDC flashlight. And when I received the Archer V3 and started carrying this, I was almost immediately converted. I love this flashlight. This is probably one of the best EDC flashlights I've ever carried. And for the first time in 6 years plus, I don't even know how long I've been carrying the Stylus Pro, I'm carrying a different flashlight. And I really like this size. It's not too big, it's not too small. 200 lumen as opposed to 90 for the Stylus Pro. It's a much brighter flashlight. The other thing I'm going to explain to you here is that the difference in the actual CREE LED. And I went into detail on this in the review of the 2A. But in order to advertise that you have a CREE LED in your flashlight, you have to meet certain specifications by CREE. If you don't meet those specifications, you're not allowed to advertise that your flashlight comes with a CREE LED. And ThruNite has met those criteria. So they've met the CREE standards for use of their LEDs, and as a result, they can advertise that they come with a CREE LED. It comes with a CREE XP V6 LED. That's no small deal. You have to go through a lot of extra steps in order to achieve that, and that means that you have a good quality product and that CREE is willing to stand behind it with 20 plus years of runtime on that LED. So one of the things that ThruNite does is they offer their flashlights in two different LED versions. One called Cool White, or CW, and the other called Neutral White, or NW. And between these two flashlights, I have one of each. So the 2A here is in Cool White, and the 1A here is in the Neutral White. And so I wanted to demonstrate that for you just real quickly here on the tabletop. So we'll go ahead and, oops, I still got this in Firefly. There we go. So I wanted to demonstrate. Now this is a 500 lumen flashlight and this is a 200 lumen flashlight. So this one obviously is going to be much brighter. But if you take a look at the difference in the beams, I don't know how well this is showing up, but the neutral white is a little bit more yellow than the cool white. And that's not to say that it's a yellow light. It just has what I would consider to be almost a little bit more of a natural hue to the beam, as opposed to this sort of artificial white that is synonymous with white LEDs. So they've been able to sort of tone that whiteness down without losing any of the brightness. The brightness between the two, obviously this is a larger flashlight so we can't compare them directly, but the brightness between the two is the same. I think if you get either one, you'd be very happy with its brightness and its ability to really light up a situation. But having that neutral white as opposed to the cool white, I think they both have their pros and cons. I found with the neutral white that it's much more of a natural light in a room. It lights up the room the way that you would naturally interpret the room to be. Whereas when you light up a room, a dark room, with the cool white, it almost takes on an artificial tone. The colors aren't true. It has a little bit of a different hue. And if you just, turn the lights off in your house at night and just turn one of these flashlights on, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You can see that difference. When you turn on the neutral white, everything looks the way it's supposed to look. The colors run true, everything is lit. It's very, very bright light, but it just has a different effect on the colors. And I think, personally, I actually tend to like that neutral white. I actually think that's a really nice color, and I like that effect. Although the cool white I have no problem with. I think no matter which one you buy, you're going to be perfectly happy with it. I don't think you're going to see any performance difference between the two, other than just how they sort of cast colors, and how you see that light in the real world is really the only major difference that I see between the two in using both of them. The one thing I have found about the 2A is I did carry this for a couple of weeks while I was reviewing it, and it's a big flashlight. That's a big guy to carry around for an EDC flashlight. And I did find that for an EDC application, it's just a little bit too big for me. It's a great flashlight. I really like it, 500 lumens, super bright. But for an EDC, it's just a little bit on the big side for my personal preference. That was solved, however, with the 1A. This, to me, is a perfect size for an EDC flashlight. So if you're looking for an excellent EDC flashlight that won't break the bank, I think this guy goes for about 35, 36 bucks on Amazon right now. You can also buy it off of their website, which I'll post a link to. It's a great EDC flashlight, and I've been carrying it for the last about week or two, and I really don't have any plans to carry anything else. I'm going to be carrying this moving forward. I'm very happy with the flashlight. You should check them out. Take it easy.